I knew a guy one time. His name was Gus, and not many people knew that Gus was like this heavy-duty Korean karate expert. They didn't know. It's just he didn't talk about it. Like a lot of very strong people, he didn't flaunt it. He didn't know. And one day I was walking with a friend who also knew him, and we saw Gus like a half a block away from us in the Times Square area. And before I had a chance to stop him, my friend said, "I'm going to go surprise him." Well, that was a bad move. My friend wasn't hurt too seriously, but he went up and he grabbed Gus from behind and surprised him. And the next thing you know, he was flying in the air. That's what our senses are for, to detect sudden danger so a saber-toothed tiger doesn't eat us, or to see if the food really stinks, we wouldn't eat it. That's why we get sick at the smell of rotten stuff, because it'll poison us if we eat it. Or the sounds, the airways, the vibrations in the air, they let us know that something is coming up on us. That's the sound. That's why a tree falling in the forest without a person there to hear it, or anyone there to hear it, even an animal, does not make a noise. There is no such thing as noise. There's no such thing as sound, which is a very odd thing to be saying to somebody. But there is no such thing as sound in that sense. There's only the way our ears interpret with the mind vibrations in the air. There, see, I just gave you an answer to a lifelong conundrum. If a tree falls in the forest and there's nobody there to hear it, does it make a sound? No, it doesn't. You want to read more about that? Because I have a good explanation for that, more depth than I just gave you, in Reverend Elliot Explains It All. And why shouldn't I explain everything? Why shouldn't I explain it all? Somebody's got to explain it all. And it's a new revised edition of the collected essays of Reverend Elliot. And that book is now like twice the size. It's like 300 and something pages. The Reverend Elliot Explains It All. And that's why we use tarot. It's called divination. It's augury. It's looking into things that are just around the corner of the space-time continuum, because our senses are designed so we don't get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. Well, the saber-toothed tigers are long gone, but there's a lot of danger out there still. There's people, we've all experienced this, right, where some guy in a car makes a wrong turn as we're crossing the street. We jump out of the way. That's how it works. We jump. We get out of the way. Our senses are there to see danger. You want to see more than that in life, though. You want to see what's going on. You want to find out what people are doing around you. We've had many callers asking me about work situations and office situations. And what do the cards show? That there are people, like this is a stretch, though, of course, that there are people in groups in the office working against other people. There are there are times I get readings for a workplace that's extremely harmonious and good, and the people tell me that's the way it is. More often than not, we get cards like the Five of Clubs, which is about stiff competition and battle. It's not terrible fighting, but it's like the day-to-day challenges that people throw at you. There are other cards for people working against you. That's one of the main things people want to know about when they get a reading, if it relates to the office. If things aren't going too well at work, is somebody working against me? Most of the time, the answer is no. I had a caller last week who didn't even tell me anything. Just said, "What do you see in the cards?" And I said, "I see something went wrong at work. I see a project that failed, and I see that somebody was working against you." And she said that was exactly what she was calling about. So that's the cards. That's not me. That's nothing inherent. That's no It's a skill. It's not a gift. It's not a talent. It's a skill. It's like reading a book in a sense. We put the cards down and we interpret the cards based on their meaning. The cards have very definite meanings. The meanings fluctuate depending upon things like the other cards around them. There are some cards that neutralize bad cards. So the cards will give us information. There are other forms of divination, the I Ching, the runes, casting stalks, yarrow stalks, which is really part of the I Ching. These things work to help people understand and get more information about what's going on in our lives. Now, the more information we have, the better off we are. There's really no such thing as a bad reading. You may hear things in a reading you don't want to hear, but it's good to know it, because if you know it, you can do something about it. That's the other thing. why would anybody want to look into the future if there was nothing you could do about it? That wouldn't make any sense, would it? I wouldn't want to know if there was nothing you could do about it. But the future now is not the same as the future 5 minutes from now, because 5 minutes from now, you'll have more information. You'll have heard things, you'll have learned things, you'll know things. This is a constant stream that is a sort of a circular stream. It's more like an Escher painting of the staircase, for instance, that goes around and around and around. Einstein called it the space-time continuum. That time is not linear. Time is not 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. We're trained that way. Calendars and clocks, they move forward bit by bit by bit. But time doesn't really work that way. It's almost incomprehensible. I say almost because I'm sure somebody out there understands it better than I do, that's for sure. But we need to use something to break that flow of time that we see as a march forward. And the tarot cards will do that. It's almost like taking a special periscope and seeing around the corner. But would you, come on, would you listen to a show called Reverend Elliot's Magical Periscope? No, that's, then I'd have to do all kinds of submarine sound effects in the background. Ooh, that would be, that might be actually, let's see. Maybe I can get on twice a week. Reverend Elliot's, it's time I've been doing this 5 years now. It's time we have a spin-off. Reverend Elliot's Magical Periscope. But in the meantime, the show is called Reverend Elliot's Magical Window because the magical window of the tarot lets us see what's happening. And then magically we can find out what we can do about it. Or practically. Most of this stuff doesn't require magic. I'm a magic worker, and I get requests from people to do magic stuff like, could you kill my next door neighbor? I'm serious. I said, no, but let's see what we can do. And 99 times out of 100, there is a story. Here, I'll give you a freebie, right? There is a story in Reverend Elliot's Magical Window. I'm sorry, that's another book. See, I'm subliminally plugging another book. There is a story in Reverend Elliot Explains It All. This is what I get for being such an egomaniac, that Reverend Elliot is in the title of 2 books. Reverend Elliot Explains It All. One day I was in an occult store on New York City's Upper West Side. It was the setting for You Got Mail, that area. And I write this out in the book in more detail, but essentially what happened is this. Because these stores are generally run by very scrupulously honest people. There was a woman who came in and she wanted a magical kit, and these things can run a couple of $100. She wanted a magical kit to spread good vibes in the world. And the woman who ran the store said, why? Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to spread good? I said, well, that's a nice thing to do, though, I thought. She wants to spread love and light and happiness. I'm off in a corner watching this. I'm browsing the book section, And she says, no, there's got to be more than that. Why do you want to do this? I said, well, because my ex-husband is taking my children away from me. And if I do a ritual to spread good vibes and light and love in the world, he'll stop. And she said, I'm not selling you anything. She said, you take that money and you go get a consultation with a lawyer. See, you got to get practical sometimes. Magic isn't magical, you know what I mean? Magic is a science, and it's an art. And we learn how to influence the ethereal powers, the astral plane. We cause change to occur in the universe in conformity with our will. But if you have a legal problem, see a lawyer. If you have a medical problem, see a health practitioner. That doesn't mean I won't do a reading for you if you have these things. And from time to time, people call, and I ask them right off the bat, are you involved in a lawsuit? Because of the cards I see, and they tell me they are, and then I give them information about it. But no, this woman insisted on buying this kit, and the store owner said, "I am not selling you anything. I am not. You need to take that money and get a lawyer." Because there are certain things that you just have to get practical about. Save magical work for something else. This is what really irritates me when I see a Hollywood version of witches and magic. And what do? They'll use their magical powers to start the blender from across the kitchen. But just either go push the button or get a clapper, You don't need the cosmic energy of the universe to make a smoothie. That's why they have buttons on blenders, and they're actually curved a little bit because of our fingertips. And you do that. To me, that is the equivalent of taking something in vain because it's empty. It's quite empty. You don't need magic. There's always that scene, usually set to some kind of 1960s rock number that they could get the rights to cheaply, as opposed to, say, Spirit in the Sky. And then the witches dance in the kitchen, and then they point, and the microwave goes on, and then they wave their hip, and the blender goes on. You don't need that. That's not what magic is. I urge anybody who's interested in finding out what magic is and what it can do for you, read my book, Reverend Elliot Explains It All. You can find it at mojoacademy.org, or you can just search for it at amazon.com, or you could just go online and search it out. Reverend Elliot Explains It All. And now that you know what we're going to be doing for the next hour, or 2 hours if I get my sequel and spin-off show one day, Reverend Elliot's Magical Periscope coming soon. We are going to start reading because I only get this 1 hour a week. Now, here we go. The first thing I'm going to do is light some incense. Get my trusty little lighter here. Okay, today we have a blend of, get this, Simon and Garfunkel fans, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. It's a calming, soothing incense that you can make right out of the kitchen. Just put together equal parts of parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, grind them up in a mortar and pestle if you want, or in your fingers, and then just light the edge of a piece of charcoal, as I just did, and throw some of that stuff on it, and it'll burn. There you have incense, and it didn't cost you a lot of money like some stores will charge for natural incense. You just made it yourself. More hints like that, you drop me a line. I can tell you what to do. I can make any incense you want for any occasion, any purpose that you have. Now, that's burning. I've got candles all over the place. I'm going to declare sacred space by ringing a bell thrice. And now we pull back the curtain on the magical window and speak to Tiffany in Barstow, California. Hi, Tiffany. You're on with Reverend Elliot.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight, Tiffany?
I'm good.
Great. What can I look at for you? Got the cards all shuffled up and ready to go.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
I just said I've got the cards all shuffled up and ready to go for you.
Okay. So I just pick what I want what's into, or?
Yeah, any aspect of your life, any specific situation, or any. You don't even have to tell me anything if you just want me to look.
Yeah, I think I'll just have you look. Not too much going on.
Okay, well, let's see what comes up first. I'm going to shuffle them one more time now that I know. Well, I don't know what I'm looking for, but now that I know what you want me to do, let's see what we have here. Okay. And here we go. Let's see. I'm going to cut the cards. Is this a work-related issue?
Kind of. I mean, I'm not working right now.
Okay, then let me, I'll tell you why I asked that. The first card I have is the Ace of Rods, or wands or clubs, they're called in some decks, but it's a rod, and they're wooden sticks, and they're flowering, meaning that there's life there, but they relate to career and work, and the ace is the possibility of a new job. So are you looking for something?
I have a job that when they do the hiring again, I'll get hired on. I just need to make sure I have things in order in my life so that I can get hired.
Well, I see that that's in your near future because I have the Ace of Rods there, and that's a job opportunity coming your way. The next card is an interesting one, though. It's the Eight of Cups, and that is a card of a person who walks away from something that isn't working for her and goes to something better.
Sounds about right.
So that's what I see is going to be happening. And when you do get to that something better, I have the card here called Judgment, which is about rebirth and getting what you deserve. So I'm seeing that this new job opportunity is going to move you to something better than you have. I've got the Temperance card here also, by the way, which is a card. These are two major cards, Judgment and Temperance, and that's a card of balance. And it tells me that if there's been an imbalance in your life, the balance will be restored when all this gets working. The key to recognizing when this is going to happen is when you realize that you have left one thing that isn't working for you and you're going to another one that is working.
Okay.
And from there on in, it's going to be very good for you. I see it being life changing. I'm getting major cards here for you about this. The Wheel of Fortune is one. Here's something practical. The Wheel of Fortune, by the way, means the situation is going to be changing, and that's good because it sounds like you want a change, right?
No, yes.
Well, the next question people ask is that going to be good or bad change? But I see it as good because what I have here is the Eight of Coins. And that is a card of a person starting a new job. See, the Ace of Rods said there's a new job coming. And that person applies themselves diligently to the job. It's something new for them, and they learn it, and they excel at it, and they succeed, and it leads to other things. So keep an eye out for a potential job opening and explore it, because the aces are more potential than solid, but this 8 that I got is solid. That's definite. So you're going to have an opportunity. I'm going to read these cards now from left to right. You're going to have an opportunity for a new job. This is going to represent you walking away from things that aren't working in your life to things that are working. From that, you lead to the Judgment card, to the Temperance card, and the Wheel of Fortune. So Judgment is rebirth, Temperance is balance, and the Wheel of Fortune means your situation will change. And because it's followed by the Eight of Coins, it's going to change successfully. That's a good reading.
Yeah.
I have one more card, and that is the Sun, and that's a card of health and happiness and restoration. So you got a lot. You got 4 major cards here out of 7 cards. So that means there's a lot of power that's working for you. So you got good things coming.
Yeah, I feel it.
What was that?
I said I feel that I do. I feel, it's time already. I feel like
Yes, that's what I'm seeing here, and I'm seeing that you will. I've got one more card here just to see what the last thing we can get. The Seven of Rods. That is a card of a person who is positioned physically on a hill with people like swinging sticks at her, but she can just swing her stick horizontally and sweep them away. Symbolically, that's a person who can sweep away all opposition and can survive troubles. So that's you.
Oh, yep.
So,
yep.
Now, one other card I have here, and we'll leave it at that. It's because it's a good card. It's the Page of Rods. I have the Ace of Rods and the Page of Rods. The Ace of Rods indicates a potential new job. The Page is the materialization of it, and that's what I saw in the Eight of Coins also. So I'm very clear here that you are going to find a job that you're going to be offered it, actually, and it's going to be just what you need to get everything back in balance in your life.
Yep, that's pretty spot on. Wow.
Well,
I'm sure about it.
Yeah, I'm glad it coincides with what you're feeling, because it seems from what you're saying that you're due for a good change, right?
Oh, overdue. I've had a lot of.
It's coming.
Oh, good.
Now, this is one of the things I like about reading in January for people. And January is almost over, but it's still January. It's the first month, so you're going to get an overview of the coming year in most of these readings that I do. And that is very good. That is going to be good for you. This is going to be a year of change. It's going to be a year of transition. It's going to be a year of achievement. It's going to be a year of health and happiness and growth and restoration. You keep up on the path that you're on, and I think you'll do a great job because you see it coming. It all hinges on you spotting it, and you are going to be able to spot it.
Yeah.
Okay, Tiffany?
All right. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. And listen, if it seems like it's taking a little too long, because this is I'm seeing it's in the works now, but I'm not getting a timeline on it. You just go to the Ask One Radio website and listen to this show again. the show from the 25th, and you'll be able to hear how good the reading is, and it may be helping. It may be of help encouraging you. So stay in touch, okay?
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Bye-bye now. And let's shuffle up those cards. Reverend Elliot coming to you live from New York, where, in between me pitching my book, we read tarot. I feel like that sometimes, when I'm not going to mention the book. I'm just speaking generically now, because we're in sacred space, right? When things that are answered in my book come up, I get to talking about the book, and I just feel like I'm selling Vegematics. I hope I'm not coming on like it's commercials, because it's not. I wrote these books to get out my philosophy, and that's that's important to me. Because at heart I'm a communicator. I think just about every job I've held, with the exception of when I was a kid and I was in the country here in upstate New York, and that was a job I had that had very little to do with communication. There was a transcontinental jet pilot had a house there, and there was a massive pile of dirt behind his house, and he just handed me a shovel and said, "You see that pile of dirt over there?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Put it over there." So that was just good old-fashioned back-breaking labor. But I had my working papers, and I was well on my way to being self-sufficient. Cards are shuffled up now, and Debbie in Baltimore is on.
Yes.
Hi, Debbie, you're
Can
on.
you hear me okay?
Yep, I hear you just fine.
Okay, because I have you on the speaker.
Oh, good. It sounds perfect. How are you doing tonight?
Good, and yourself?
Doing well, doing well. I get such a kick out of doing this show. I mean, I've been doing it 5 years now, and every show is like the first time. I get that energy. It just pours down from the audience right into me. Who would have thought it would happen doing like over computers? But I feel so much energy. So what can I look at for you?
Okay, want to take a look at my business and relationship.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, this is good. This is good. The first thing I need to tell you is the first card I pulled out is the Fool. Now, the Fool card is very powerful. It is extraordinarily powerful. It signifies a person who is the beloved of God, as the gypsies interpret it, and therefore there is no negative card in the deck when you read for somebody who gets the Fool. The cards are all positive. Now, I'm getting cards here that are swords, and swords can relate to mental activity and thoughts, or it can relate to struggle and strife. And that's what I'm seeing here. Is that, have you come out of a period of struggle and maybe a fight of some sort?
I'm in the middle of it now, struggling financially and everything. Mm-hmm.
Because what I'm seeing is an overarching sadness here. I'm getting some of the saddest cards in the deck, and that is offset though by a card called the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords looks horrible, but it's not. It means that the worst is over. Okay, the Ten of Swords means that life threw the worst it had at you. Now remember, though, the first card I have is the Fool, so there's no negativity here. There's nothing bad here. What I'm reading here, I'll just give you a straight interpretation of what I'm seeing in these cards. Something happened that was painful. It's over. There's the worst is over. There's still residual sadness about it, and you're going to take some time out. You're going to take some time off and work it out. And acclimate yourself to it and see what you can do to get out of it, because you are going to get out of it. The final card I have is the Ten of Coins. That's a card of real happiness. And in terms of coins, it's money. This is the perfection of the money cards. So what I'm seeing is that the worst has happened to you. The worst is over. You're going to take some time out to digest this. And you take as long as you need, of course. And the result is that Ten of Coins, which is a card of perfected results in the realm of money.
Okay, because I haven't even gotten into the middle of it because I got a couple of foreclosures and I'm trying to get, well, I'm going to apply for some modification. I got a bunch of tax sales and stuff like that. So are you basically saying to me that everything will be fine?
What I'm seeing, first of all, yeah, the last card I have is very powerful in terms of happiness, and the Fool card is there. That is protecting you. But what I'm seeing here is that although the worst part of it is over, there's still stuff you're going to have to go through, because that's followed by the Nine of Swords, which is a card of despair and sadness. So just because the worst is over doesn't mean, like that suddenly we're happy, right? It still lingers. You are going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're going to deal with it. That's what the cards show me, that you will deal with it, and you'll deal with it successfully, and you'll deal with it in a way that is good for you.
Okay, but do you see me losing any properties as a result of it?
I can't get that specific in the short readings that we do on the air,
Okay, sure.
But I don't see it. I'll tell you why. Because of that 10 of coins. That's a coin. That's a card of happy results in the financial realm.
Okay.
So you may not get everything you want, but you'll be okay. See, I just pulled one more card. It's a card of success and triumph. So I think you're going to weather the storm. I just don't see anything worse coming at you. That's the main point.
Okay.
So that's good, because you got your hands full, right?
Oh yeah, that's an understatement.
Yeah. Well, I see you handling it. I see you handling it very well and successfully. And I'm going to just pull one more card. Yep, the Ace of Cups. That means the beginning of happiness and even an indication of love in life. That's good. It's just all the good emotional stuff comes out of the Ace of Cups. See, I'm getting a lot of aces for people tonight, and that happened last week and the week before, because it's a new year, and this is going to be a year of changing and new opportunities for many people, and that's why the aces are showing up. Just like I had the Ace of Wands in that previous caller, you have the Ace of Cups at the result here. There's nothing. See, I got these sad cards, right? But they're all followed by happy cards. So I think you're on the right path. As long as you don't let the despair get you down, that's the main thing.
Oh no, I'm gonna hang in there and fight it out. I just had to change my plan. But before you go, just one other question.
Sure.
Sean, is Sean going to come into the picture? Where is he?
Let's see if I can do that. I'm going to put those cards back in the deck and shuffle them up. One more time. Cut the cards. It's dull radio, isn't it? Cutting cards. Well, the answer to your question is very optimistic. It's the Star. That's the card called the Star, which is hopeful, and it's a card of optimism. And so I'd say there's a very good chance of you getting what you want.
Okay. Well, I thank you so very much.
My pleasure. Call anytime. I'm here every Wednesday at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific. And I'll be happy to look at your cards again as these things develop. I do see that you're not out of the woods yet, but the worst has happened, and you'll be able to deal with it. And the results are going to be good. Again, as I told the previous caller, you can, if it seems like it's getting a little rough, just listen to this reading again at the Ask One Radio archives on their website. And you'll hear a very positive reading coming your way. So stay in touch.
Good. That's good to know.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye now. And again, this is Reverend Elliot coming to you live on the Ask One Radio Network, where we get together every Wednesday at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific to look through the magical window of the tarot to see what's going on in our lives. You see how it works? If you're a first-time listener, you see how this works. These cards zero in on things. This is not me doing it. These are your cards if you call and get a reading. If you can't get a reading, we only have that hour, and you can always drop me a line at Ask Tarot. That's one word. Make it one word. Run them together. Cram them together. Ask Tarot, AskTarot, at earthlink.net. Nice old-fashioned email. Back when the internet was steam-powered, right? Ask Tarot at earthlink.net, and I will be happy to pull a few cards for you as a free consultation. Because it's when people want magic work done, the very first thing we should do is read the cards to see what needs to be done and to see, as I mentioned earlier, maybe you don't even need magical work. Maybe it's just a practical thing. Maybe you do need to just go get a lawyer. Maybe you do need to do that. But we can always strengthen everything. Anything you want to do, any goal you have, we can strengthen it. Go take a look at my website, which is a directory to all the stuff I do, is magic-works.com, magick-works.com. Scroll down there. Go there. Scroll down. And I put a 1930s ad from an occult book company there, which is so funny, but it really condensed the message down. It says, "Don't envy the successful man, be one." Man, because it's the 30s, and it was always aimed at men. But you'd be surprised how many women do this magical work, of course. So, maybe I'll alter that and say, don't envy the successful person, because it does show a man and a woman in that thing. And it's just, that's the way it is. A lot of people are doing magical work. It's not rare. Folks, it is not rare. I can think of 4 businesses right off the top of my head right now that have been around for 30 years or more, selling magical supplies like oils and incense and candles and kits and books. And they are up and running and thriving. And they wouldn't be if this was just a little specialty market. No, there's a lot of that going around. There's a lot of magic happening, a lot of magical work. You ever, there's a person in your life who you just think, why is that person always going from success to success? I mean, look at them. Could be magic. It doesn't hurt. You can look into it. It's a very, very old thing that's inherent in human culture. It's can be denounced as superstition, but I've seen too many examples of it working. And you've heard tonight so far, the first half of the show, how the cards zero right in on what's going on in people's lives. And let's see if we can do that now for the next caller. Jennifer in Alabama is on next with Reverend Elliot. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hi, how are you tonight?
I'm fine.
Good. We have a little bit of an echo coming back, but that's 21st century technology, right? Well, we're going to use 13th century technology. We're going to use the tarot cards now, which predate electricity, except in the form of lightning, of course. What can I look at for you, Jennifer?
Well, my husband has been sick with a mystery element. It's the doctors have been stumped for the last couple of months. I want to know if he's finally cured or over it, and because we've suffered financially since he's not really been able to work, and so I just need to kind of.
Yeah, I am definitely attuned to that, because that happened to me 3 years ago. And the doctors got mad at me. I'm sitting there, I'm lying in the hospital, and they're mad at me because they can't figure out what I've got. Like I would. So the first thing, of course, was like, I'm faking it. You tell me how to fake a 103-degree fever. Yeah. One doctor actually said to me, irritated, she said, "You are not presenting properly." So, I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying to stay alive, and then that kept me, that knocked me out for a long time. Here's the reading, okay? Right now, you're overburdened. That's easy to see based on, I don't even need cards for that because you told us. That's the 10 of rods. You're feeling a crushing responsibility and overburden. The 8 of swords is a person who feels tied up and doesn't know which way to go and doesn't know how to move. But implied in that is there's a castle in the card way in the distance, and that's where the person is going to go. So you'll break free of that. The next card is about forward action. It's the 6 of swords. That's about getting from here to there to where you want to be through your own energy and your own action. So I think you'll be able to handle the adversity. The next card is the Wheel of Fortune. That means life changing. It's going to turn. It's going to change. Now, the question is it going to be for the better or not? And my indication is that it's going to be for the better, because I have a card I got earlier. It's the Ace of Cups. And that is the Ace of Cups is happiness. It's the arrival of happiness and love and harmony and all those good emotional things. So I'm seeing you moving from that from that burden feeling to the Ace of Cups, which is a new day coming and great happiness. And that's what I'm seeing now. And oh, I got this card again, the Ten of Swords. I just had that for the previous reading. That means the worst is over. So I'm hoping that they can. I'm hoping that they can get it. I don't. I still don't know if they ever found out what I had. I do know that they rammed antibiotics into me like crazy. So I'm seeing it working out okay for you. As of right now, you're going to break free of that feeling of being stuck in one place, and there's happiness and good stuff in your future.
Well, is this business going to pick up?
That's something that we might want to explore some other time, with its own call, because I'm getting indications of something just not moving. It's not changing from where it is now. And yet, and yet, I have the Ace of Coins and the Ace of Rods, and that's interesting. Those are two aces. I'm getting so many aces this year. The Ace of Rods is about a new business, and the Ace of Coins is about a new income stream. So there, keep your eye out for a new opportunity, because while I'm seeing you specifically asking about the business, I'm not seeing any change in it, but I'm seeing the possibility of you going off into another direction.
That's interesting. We just talked about that tonight and threw some ideas around. Yes.
I guess that's what you're considering. And I got this card earlier too. This is the Eight of Cups, and that's about walking away from something that isn't working and going to something that is working.
Right.
That doesn't mean you're going to do it. It means you're considering it, and it's on your mind. So that's the important thing. The Five of Cups tells me that when you make your decision, there's going to be a degree of sadness involved, but it's not as big a loss as you think it is, based on the feeling. There's optimism in the Five of Cups. A person is looking at three spilled cups, but doesn't yet see the two other cups that are fine. See, that's a symbolic way of saying that it isn't as bad as you thought. But keep an eye out for a new opportunity in career work, because that will lead to a new stream of income, and you'll take it, and it'll be bittersweet, because it's the beginning of one thing and the end of another.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. This is a complex reading on both of these fronts, the health one and the work stuff. So if you need to mull it over, meditate on it, go to the askoneradio.com and play your reading back at the 11:30 mark or so from the reading in the archives. This show should be up there in the next day or so. And always be open to listening to this again if you need to have any sense of reinforcement, okay?
Okay, thank you so much for your time. I do
My pleasure.
appreciate it.
And the best of luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Now let's shuffle up the cards again. These are very heavy issues. And this is, I'm going to go to the archives. I keep telling people, look at the Ask One Radio archives. This is show 199. So there's going to be 198 shows in the archive before this one. But I'm going to listen to all the shows from this year, from January, right? Because I'm getting, and I do this in my private readings too, I'm getting so many aces for people. At 2000, so a caller a week or so ago, maybe the week before, maybe last week, I don't recall, said that she viewed, on the whole, for everybody, 2017 is a year of new beginnings. And here I am getting aces, and aces are new beginnings. If a new beginning is what you want, this might be the year to start taking advantage of what it is you wanted to do. And if you have a plan and you want to see how that looks, drop me a line at asktarot@earthlink.net. You can also contact me through magic-works.com. Magic spelled with a K at the end, MAGICK. So that it doesn't, it's not like the guy who pulls a rabbit out of his shirt pocket. This is the old-fashioned magic, the esoteric way of doing things, the right-handed path, which is not evil, not black magic. And don't even ask me to say, I want you to make that guy fall in love with me, because that's black magic. I know it sounds warm and fuzzy, but, that's imposing your will on somebody else. You don't want to do that. What I handle that is when people people don't ask me that much about romance, oddly enough. They ask me more about work and money. That's the way the times have changed. Rather than doing something, saying, make that guy make that woman fall in love with me. I gently try to persuade them to do a magical work that is aimed at let the person who is looking for somebody like you find you. See? Because once you try this stuff about making somebody fall in love with you, first of all, that indicates a severe level of lack of confidence that you have to use the power of the universe in order to get somebody to be in love with you. You're better than that. You're lovable. People, you are lovable. Find the gal who wants somebody just like you to find you. That's the way to do it. Liz in Tucson, Arizona is next. I'm going to cut my speech short because it's about you. I'm here to read your cards. Hi, Liz in Tucson.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good, good. What can I look at for you?
Well, I'm kind of just in the middle of a bunch of changes right now, so I'm feeling like I'm not grounded too much, and so I guess I'm just interested to see what you might see or what you might have to say. Kind of just see what the cards say, I guess, or what you can read.
Okie doke. Let's see. I can't believe I just said okie doke. I can't. What am I in a Daniel Boone movie here? I've got interesting cards here. I've got some interesting cards here. The first is the Eight of Cups, and that's a card that's come up 3 times tonight now, people. That's a card of walking away from something that didn't work and going to something that's better. Has one phase of your life ended and another begun?
Yes, very much so. I would definitely say with my career for sure, and then also even where I'm living.
Now, when you say with your career, it's one of those little things that a reader can do. We're supposed to then say, yes, I know. But in this case, I do know. I was going to ask you about that because the next card is about money. The next card is the Six of Coins, and that is a card about philanthropy, about getting money.
Okay.
When somebody is trying to start up a new business, for instance, that card can mean investors. That card could also mean winning the lottery. That card can mean all kinds of stuff. But overall, it means money coming to you. The next card is the Three of Cups, and the Three of Cups, the standard gypsy rendition of this, and the Kabbalistic interpretation is because the threes are completed. The 3 is like the triad. It's one of the reasons I ring the bell 3 times when we start the show. It's the completion of a matter in plenty, and it's through friends. And then I have the Judgment card, which is about rebirth and reawakening and getting what you deserve. So I'm seeing that you've left something and you're looking for something better. You're going to get that. There's money going to come in to help you do it. It'll be involving some friends. You might get this through friends or with friends, but friends are involved. And the Judgment card tells me that it's going to be a life awakening experience and life changing. Now, here's the thing. I have 2 other coin cards. Money is on your mind. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely there.
Because I've got 6 cards here, and half of them relate to money. The 2 of coins is about juggling and balancing and trying to get something going. In terms of a new business, for instance, that's like trying to get credit and balance it. So you're going to enter a period of working to try to get what you want financially using money. And the 4 of coins is a card of holding on to that money. And not people may think that you're a miser, they may start thinking you're cheap, but you know that you got to marshal those forces very carefully. That you're not going to go on a spending jag. When that money comes in the 6 of coins, you're going to marshal it very carefully, and you're going to be very responsible with it.
Okay.
So I do see something better coming for you this year, and it's going
very
to.
Good.
It's going to work out very well for you. Keep an eye out among your friends, and keep an eye out for the opportunity to get that money. I just got one more card. It's another money card. It's the Ace of Coins. Aces. See, I'm always getting aces tonight, and that's about new beginnings. And new beginnings in terms of getting money. So you're on a path to get what you want and get it backed and financed.
Okay. Sounds very good.
That's a reading I'd like to have years ago when I was starting up
Yeah.
a business. I would have liked to see that. So, keep in touch. Maybe as this progresses, we can pull a few more cards for you, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Bye-bye now. And let's shuffle them up fast and get to another call. These are cards of dynamic things, folks. These are cards. This is not just, oh, look, it's going to be so nice. It's going to be so happy. It's going to be warm and fuzzy. These are cards for the last few readings here that are about people working to get what they want and getting it. That's the key to all of this. This is why over and over people ask me, why do you get so many positive readings from people? I said, because the people who call me, they're working towards getting something. They're not moping around. They're not saying, oh, why bother? You know, the person who sees what the situation is and wants to do something about it is 90% ahead of everybody else. And when you call me and you want to look at a specific situation, right off the bat, you're more likely to be successful because you know what the situation is, you know what needs to be done. You just want to look at the cards to see how it's going to play out. And it's you. It's not the cards making success for the people I've been reading about tonight. It is you doing the work, and that kind of positive reinforcement in life is very important, especially in work, because that kind of stuff is not easy. Work can be very hard. We're down to the last call, so let me zip it and speak to Dorothy in Virginia. Hi, Dorothy. You're on with Reverend Elliott.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well tonight. We're coming up to the end, so what can I look at for you? I won't babble this time, I promise.
Okay, can you look at my finances?
Okay. Um, very good cards. Very good cards here. Are you involved in any kind of legal case?
No.
Okay, I just ask that because I have the justice card here, and sometimes that means more times than ever, that's what that means. But on the larger scale, the justice card refers to getting what you deserve. Here's the answer to your question as I see it in 5 cards. The Lovers is a card here, and that is a card not of romance, but it's a card about making a choice. So since you're talking about money, there is a choice that you have to make. The Star card, this came up earlier, is a card of optimism and hope, and tells me that you have a very good shot at when you make the decision, you're going to make the right decision. The King of Rods is a card of mastery of career, that you know what you're doing in terms of work and what you want, and you know how to get it. The next 2 cards are the Sun, which is a card of health, happiness, and success, and then there's that Justice card at the end here, which means that it's going to work out. You're going to get what you deserve.
Oh.
And I'm assuming that that's good because the Star card is here. Nobody's optimistic about getting bad stuff that they even people who deserve it. There are people who deserve it. Let's face it. But no, you got too many happy cards here. So this is all going to hinge on a decision that you need to make, and you'll make the right decision. One more card. The card is the Empress. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6 cards are major cards. So this is a very important issue in your life. The Empress card is a card of abundance and it's fertility, not necessarily in a childbirth way, but in making things grow and happen. And one more card, another major card. This is a big turning point for you. I wish we had a little more time to look into it, but the clock is running out. It's the World. The card of the World is the card of assured success. I think that you're on the right track. Whatever this decision is that you have to make, you're going to trust yourself and you're going to make the right decision.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does that work for you? Does that answer? You don't have to tell us the details, but does that ring a bell for you?
I just don't know what this decision is.
Well, you will once you recognize it. That's the thing, and that means that when that decision has to be made, then you'll be able to say to yourself, "Now I'm in that period of time that Reverend Elliott told me about."
Okay.
So keep an eye out for it, and it's a big decision, and it'll be a clear-cut choice between taking one path or taking another. That's the best I can tell you about it. I got one more card here. It's the Six of Rods. That's yet another card of success. In fact, that's a card of triumph. That's even bigger success. So I think you can trust yourself to make the proper decision. And the good thing about making a decision anyway is that if it's the wrong one, you know it's the wrong one, and you can do the other thing.
Right.
But I'm getting every indication here that you're going to make the right decision for your needs at the right time when it's necessary. And that's going to open up the doors to all this positive stuff. Okay, I got to run now. But
thank you so much.
As it develops, call back because we can look at some more cards, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much for calling. I really appreciate I just wish I could give you a little bit more time. But, folks, that's it for tonight. That's it. So let me just tell you, this has been Reverend Elliot, your friendly neighborhood esoteric practitioner. You want to know more about what I can do for you? Go to my website, magic-works.com, MAGICK, a little dash, works.com. And you can also find out what I can do with you. And more importantly, you can find out what I can show you how to do for yourself. This is very important stuff because it's about not being beaten back and forth by fate. It's about, these are things, let's take charge of your own destiny. Well, of course, if you could take charge of your own destiny, it wouldn't be your destiny, is what people have said. But I beg to differ. You can make change happen. Remember, magic is the science and art of causing change in the universe to occur in conformity with your will. It's what you want. It's what you need. It's about who you are and getting the universe to respond to you. And people are doing it all over the place. You might as well be one of them too. So until next week, when we'll be back here on the Ask One Radio Network, we'll tell you again, this is Reverend Elliot, author of Reverend Elliot's Magical Window, same name as this show. If you want to learn how to read tarot for yourself, that's the one I recommend because I wrote it. And it's dedicated to you, the Ask One Radio listeners. It's the only tarot guide I know of that comes with a CD of actual unrehearsed, spontaneous readings so that you can follow along with the things I talk about or write about in the book. You can actually hear them. You get to hear more of me. And Reverend Elliot explains it all, which will tell you about the things that magic can do for you. And there's other books there too, but check out mojoacademy.org. There's a book there that will change your life. So until next week, remember, time flies. It's up to you to be the navigator.
A1R Lifestyle, Healing and Wellness Radio.